Hey, what's going on, summoners? My name is Crumbs, and today we're going to be taking a look at 5 steps you can take to become a better support. Support mains all around are constantly bashed about how easy the role is, alongside having to do everything perfectly. Well, between its extreme impact on the map and ability to control vision, it can be a bit harder than most players may expect. Not to worry though, with this video, we'll be sure to take your supporting to the next level so that you can show just how impactful and powerful your role truly is. Regardless, let's dive right into the video with our great first step. Starting us off strong, we've got understanding matchups. Nearly every role in the game needs to know how matchups function, but it can be quite a bit harder as a support. Not only do you need to know how your champion does into the enemy, but you need to have a decent understanding of how your AD carry's champion does into them as well. Are you able to fight early? Does your AD carry require you to take heavy early trades for kill pressure? Maybe you're playing with a scaling champion and need to AFK farm for 20 minutes. Or maybe you have someone that can play extremely safe while you look to impact the map. Regardless of what it is, you need to make sure that you're completely aware of how the matchup is played. Let's take a look at an example. Let's say you're playing something like Ezreal and Nautilus bot lane versus Jinx and Lulu. In this lane, as Nautilus, it's gonna be pretty hard to ever kill Jinx. This means that you're likely gonna be roaming around the map or helping your jungler, since Ezreal can play extremely safe versus this lane. The reason we know this is because Ezreal has some of the safest laning in the game, and he'll be against 2 champions with no hard CC or real engage at his distance. Plus, Jinx doesn't really want to try to fight Ezreal anyways. Let's say that you can't roam, but you still want to look for a kill on Jinx or Lulu. Well, you need to make sure that your AD carry is actually strong enough to fight. In Ezreal's case, he's gonna want to Sheen so that he can deal a significant amount of burst. If you pick a fight before he has Sheen, or worse, in a massive minion wave, then you're gonna lose the lane. Instead, play it slow and wait till he has his power spike. From there, you can look to go for a kill if possible. Now keep in mind, there are a ton of champions in League of Legends, especially since bot lane has 2 roles combined. Because of this, we don't recommend you learn every single champion and when they're strong. Instead, use the meta to help you out so that you're not overwhelmed as easily. If you're only playing 1 to 2 champions, then you can pick up matchup knowledge far easier. Take a look at the AD carries with the highest win rate and play rates alongside supports with similar stats. Once you've established your list, you can start paying attention to what makes each of these champions powerful. It'll take some time, but soon you'll be able to identify when your AD carry is stronger than the enemies, as well as what matchups require you to adapt. Before we dive into our next key step, we gotta talk about the laning phase. As a support, your laning phase is condensed into being able to constantly read the lane as fast as possible. If your ally goes for a trade, you need to be able to trade back. If the wave is in a bad spot, you gotta be prepared to fix it or hold a freeze. However, learning how to lane can be pretty hard to do on your own. But if you need some help learning how to solidify your laning, then be sure to check us out at ProGuides.com. With our in-depth guides, we can help take your support game to the next level. If courses and lessons aren't your thing, don't worry. We have challenger level coaches that are available 24/7 to help you out. So what are you waiting for? Go check us out and join the ProGuides family. Nonetheless, let's get back into the video and dive into our next few steps. Next up on our list, we've got learning basic jungle tracking. Now you may be thinking, Crumbs, shouldn't my jungler be tracking the enemy? And you'd be correct. But everyone should have a basic understanding of jungle tracking. That being said, it's incredibly important for a support since you tend to have the most downtime. Being able to track the enemy jungler will let you predict what their next move is and can even save an ally from a gank. Once you get really good at reading jungle clear speeds, you can even help your AD carry prep the wave in a way that stops you from getting ganked. Just imagine how often you could avoid you or your AD carry dying because you knew that the enemy Rek'Sai was gonna 3-camp you into a gank. Again, we don't expect you to instantly learn every jungle clear for every champion. However, most champions follow a basic clear path every game, especially in lower ranks. This means that with enough awareness, you should be able to understand where the jungler will be and why. Sometimes your predictions will be wrong, and that's okay. The whole point is that you're looking to be correct most of the time, not all the time. A great way to practice your jungle tracking is to ping where you think the enemy jungler is throughout the laning phase. After the game, we recommend going back through the VOD and seeing if your pings line up with where they actually are. If they don't, ask yourself why not. Try to break down their thought process and move on. It can also help to play a few jungle games yourself so that you can pick up on the timing of things. That being said, it's not necessary and you can learn by just focusing on jungle clear paths or watching high elo players. Moving on to our next step, we've got itemizing what your team needs. We all know that Riot's original intentions with mythic items was that they were adaptable. Well, while most champions don't really adapt their mythic items, most supports are pretty flexible. This is because support mythic items aren't necessarily the greatest, but they do help your allies quite well. For example, most Lulu players tend to default to Shurelius or Moonstone since it's what a lot of people build. Well, if you're looking to protect your hyper carry or deal with something like a Karthusel, it can be way better to grab a Locket. We don't just mean mythics either. Be sure to adapt your legendary items each game as well. If your team really needs anti-heal, be sure to grab it. Are fights lasting long? Then build a redemption to keep your allies alive. Maybe there's hard CC that just keeps picking off your carry. Well, pick up a Mikhail's to deal with it. There are a ton of items to choose from that can really help your team out. As a support, you can easily fill any gaps in itemization so that your allies aren't put in a gold deficit. Trust us, there are a lot more builds than just going Shurelius, Putrefire, Ardent Censer, and finishing it off with a staff on Lulu. Now before we move on to our next few steps, let's not forget about our favorite ProGuides tradition. Today, we want to ask you all, what is your favorite class of support to play? I used to be a big fan of hook supports like Blitzcrank and Nautilus because they could engage, but after the durability patch, I am all about damage mages. Give me Xerath all day. Skill shots 24/7 are so rewarding to play and they allow you to get solo kills and be surprisingly effective with a global ultimate, or semi-global at least. Regardless of what your answer may be, let us know in the comment section down below. Nonetheless, let's get back into the video and dive into our last few steps for you guys. Pulling us back into the video, we've got setting up vision around objectives. As a support, one of the most important parts of your role is to establish vision control. This means it's up to you to set up wards around an objective so that your allies can move in and do the objective safely. It'll also make it harder for the enemy to fight for it since they'll be forced to walk into darkness. By using your sweeper, wards, and pink wards, you can easily take control of an entire area. A great example would be getting dragon control for your team. You can place a pink ward in the pit to ensure the enemy can't place vision. Alongside this, you can ward the jungle entrances and even a bit deeper into the jungle so that they can't easily contest. With enough vision control and setup, your allies can take the objective and may even get a pick beforehand. That brings us to our last step, rotate vision correctly. Let's say you're already doing a great job setting up objectives with proper vision. However, the enemy seems to just sweep it and now your team is stuck without vision. Fear not, summoner, but this is where part 1 of rotating vision comes in. Think of warding as something that works in cycles. Around 1 minute before an objective, you tend to set up your wards. You get perfect vision in the enemy jungle and have your trusty pink ward to clear out any vision in important areas. Rather than sit there and wait for the enemy to simply clear your vision, be sure to reset so you can get more wards. This will allow you to contest vision once the objective gets closer to spawning. Walk with your allies into the vision and replace any wards that were taken out while also using your sweeper to remove enemy vision. From here, you and your allies can defend the vision properly so that you can take the objective. Now let's talk about the second meaning for rotating vision. This meaning is all about moving your vision to a useful and impactful location. So let's say you and your allies just took the dragon and you all just reset to spend your gold. If the next objective your team is playing for is Baron, then you're gonna want to rotate your vision over there. Now that dragon is gone, we have no reason to be on that side of the map. With no reason to be there, we don't care if we have vision in that area. Instead, move your wards to the Baron and control that area in case you and your allies end up wanting to take it. It'll take some practice, but a great rule of thumb is to always have vision on what your allies want to play for. If you're okay with giving Baron, then maybe only place one ward on it and use the rest to protect yourself from a sneak attack in the enemy jungle. Overall, it can be difficult to play as a support because a lot of your effort is unseen. As much as we all wish we could pull off crazy mad life hooks or set up plays like Core JJ, that's just not the main role of a support. Being able to play laning properly while also having strong vision control is more important than ever. Having to practice these skills while also not getting any of the praise feels really bad. Speaking of which, being motivated to practice can be hard, but if you want to join an amazing community of people like you that are looking to improve and grow together, check out our Discord using the link found in the description. Who knows, maybe you'll finally find the perfect group of friends that want to learn with you and cheer you on. Nonetheless, let's get back into the video and take a look at our final few honorable mentions. Last but certainly not least, we've finally made it to our honorable mentions. These may not have made it into our 5 steps, but we think they can be game-changing if you take the time to master them. For our first mention, we've got properly using roam timers. As a support, being able to impact the map is incredibly important. While we don't recommend constantly running top to gank, it can actually be game-changing to just visit mid every once in a while. If your bot wave is in a good spot and your AD carry is heading back to lane, feel free to roam mid. Not only will your mid laner appreciate you setting up some basic vision for them, but sometimes you can even score a kill since they won't be expecting you. Just be sure you don't spend too much time mid, especially if your AD carry is facing a threatening duo. And as our final honorable mention, we've got tracking cooldowns. Being able to track summoner spell cooldowns can be game-changing, and it's a great habit to build. You may be thinking that no one is going to use them, and that's fine, but there's always the chance that your allies will play around the cooldowns, and if they don't, you can. Just learn the basic bot lane cooldowns by heart, and you can easily apply them in-game. It's as easy as watching the enemy Vayne flash at 5 minutes, and simply typing Vayne F 1000, which stands for 10 minutes. Now your entire team knows that flash isn't up till 10 minutes. Just keep in mind that some champs take Cosmic Insight, which can mess with cooldowns and throw off your standard timers. And that sums up our video for today. Don't forget to join our ProGuides family over at ProGuides.com, where we offer exclusive giveaways and classes that you won't catch anywhere else. So stay tuned and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next video. Good luck out there on the Rift, and may the LP God smile down upon you.